Oh no, you kind of look like an egg.
It's okay. I look like an egg regardless. Get that quite often, really.
Hello everyone, I'm AmandaRachLee and welcome to a new show on my channel called The Drawing Board, where we doodle with guests and take a deeper look into their creative minds. Today I'm joined by a very talented singer, songwriter, hoodie enthusiast, whose music is the perfect mix of bedroom pop and R&B. Hojean, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Today on The Drawing Board, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be drawing a self-portrait of you, but the twist is we're gonna be building this feature by feature, and then I'll ask you questions in between, like how would you rate your drawing skills?
When I was younger, like instead of like focusing on school, I would just draw, you know?
Me.
Yeah, like for me it was like, I don't know, I think my mom always told me like I was like more of a natural, like I was just good at drawing off rip, I guess, you know? And in my like first birthday video, I picked up a pencil.
Oh, okay, so
which is like a thing, you know, where it's just like you either pick up like money or like a pencil.
Right.
I picked up a pencil, so.
So we're expecting big things from this question right now.
Okay, maybe I might have put myself a little too high up there. I would say I'm like out of 10, like a good like 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
We're gonna start with the eyes, which is like the most important part, the windows to the soul. I did hear that you get inspiration from watching movies for your music.
Yes.
And I was wondering, like, what is it about movies versus like maybe hearing other people's music that gives you inspiration?
I grew up just loving like visuals, you know, like, and anytime I saw like a cool movie, which is like with like cool like, you know, cinematography or like cool effects, like I'm very drawn to it. So like when I see a really cool scene in a movie or something, you know, movies often like to set the tone of a certain scene with the way they direct it, the way they color grade it. And I think when I see that scene, I'm just like, I'm receiving the feelings that the scene should be giving me. You know, I kind of just listen to music more for like, I'm having fun, you know, I'm just kind of like, you know, chilling back.
So go ahead and draw your eyes.
Okay, I'm so scared.
No, don't be scared. Also, you don't need to copy what I'm doing because it should be in your own style. I'm drawing your classic glasses.
Where do I go from here?
Is there a movie that you've watched recently that you feel like maybe a song could be brewing from that movie?
Oh man, probably Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie made me tear up.
Yeah, I'm just like bawling.
I like to watch movies by myself. So I remember I went to go watch it and I felt so bad for the person next to me because I was going crazy. I was like going snot. At it. Yes. Every scene I was like, oh, I could relate to this, or it'd be like, oh my god, this is brilliant. And then I just start crying, you know? That's how I feel about a lot of movies actually. Like, even if it's just like a comic movie or something, if there's like a scene that just like, I'm just like, oh, that's brilliant. I just feel like tearing up.
Just like single tear rolling down the cheek.
Yeah. So how long have you been drawing for?
Pretty much also since I was a child. Like I remember in kindergarten, I would just be the one doodling, you know, on the side of the margins. And since I was a kid, like my mom has every single one of my kindergarten drawings like in a nice binder, so it's cool to see like the progression. We're gonna skip ahead to the like nose, mouth, ear area.
Okay, how do I look?
And also give yourself, you know, whatever expression you're feeling. I always like asking musicians these questions about like their specific songs. So we're just gonna go, you can just name off your songs or whatever song applies. So which song of yours is your favorite to perform?
Probably over 85.
Oh, I like that.
Just because like the crowd always comes up, you know, they always like sing the words, and I feel like it's just like so cool.
That must be an insane feeling hearing people.
Yeah,
like
it is insane. Because like in context, like I made that song in 3 days. I kind of released it as like I gotta release something because I haven't released anything in a while, you know. So I was like, I just gotta make something and then send it. And then it ended up being like my biggest song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you actually hinted at the next question, which is which song was the hardest to write for you?
Oh, wow. The hardest song for me to write? Probably say my song Memory. Probably my hardest song to make. Just because I took like a 1-year hiatus before like getting back into music making. So I'd say Memory was for sure like that song, which is like, oh, where do I start? You know, how do I construct these chords, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd say Memory.
What song are you the proudest of?
Probably Memory.
Memory? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What song by someone else do you wish you wrote?
Self-Control by Frank Ocean.
Oh, I love Frank.
Yeah, I was just singing in sound check. Like, I think it's such a good song.
I heard it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can definitely hear like the Frank influences in your music, I feel like.
I get that quite a lot. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of hard to say with, you know, I feel like as if a lot of artists these days coming up, like, I think you'd be lying to say if people like Frank Ocean didn't like, you know, like inspire you in some form, you know? So I'd say, yeah, for sure got that. You got a good ear for that.
Okay, so next up in the picture, we're gonna draw your hair area.
Whoa, okay.
You have quite a luscious head of hair.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is so uncanny. I feel like this like looks like me, but like not really. Oh, what is going on?
You got this. I believe in you.
I feel like I drew my dad's nose more than I drew my nose, but you know.
I mean, technically it's the same nose.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I do get that I look like my dad a lot.
Okay, looking good.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We're talking about like your mind when you're writing songs. So I've heard you call your music kind of like a journal, and you relate it to like a journal for your personal self as well as like for your listeners.
Yeah.
Which we love because on the channel we do a lot of journaling here. So I imagine it's kind of hard when you're writing songs, because for me, I'd feel like someone's almost like reading my diary a little bit. Yeah. So I'm curious for you, like, where do you draw the line of, you know, being personal in your songs and being open, but then also still having some sort of like privacy for yourself?
Well, for me, it's like I kind of feel like if I didn't write these songs, I feel like I'd be bubbling a lot of things in. Like I guess that kind of goes into like journaling, because I know people like to journal because they want to like vent to themselves or just get something out, you know. And I honestly don't really mind if people hear what I would consider like journals of my life, because I think ultimately I feel as if like we're all kind of human, you know. So it's like whatever I feel, I'm sure they would feel the same way. When I hear music or like when I watch movies, I'm just like, oh yeah, like I feel like that sometimes, you know. So I think it's just kind of cool to put these out and have people listen to it and kind of understand me. And then when I see that people like it, I kind of like understand them too.
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of like makes it worth it when you see people relate.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm excited for this next step because I feel like it's gonna bring it all together. We're gonna do the outfit, the hoodie.
Oh,
iconic.
Yes.
You know, I'm a bit of a hoodie connoisseur myself. For me, I feel like not all hoodies are made the same. They're not, you know, they're not equal. What makes a good hoodie?
I kind of wear a hoodie because like it just stemmed from like a lot of like feeling like you were like, you know, there were times where I felt very down, you know, and I felt like wearing a hoodie just like this would like kind of put me in a world where I was like to myself, and it kind of helped me. Yeah, it is like a warm hug, and it kind of helped me like be so like to myself that I was able to like understand my own feelings and get myself out of like a certain state. I feel like actually no, you know, it's not too bad.
Yeah, you need to be nice to yourself.
Thank you.
For any good portrait, I feel like you also need to showcase a little bit of your personality in the portrait. Like, we'll fill in some of the empty space in the around it. So feel free to draw anything maybe that has to do with your hometown, hobbies, something like related to you that will like signify yourself, you know?
Right, what I mean? Okay. Let's see.
Not music related.
Not music related.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge you to do something not music because I feel like that's an easy answer.
Of course, totally down. Like spaghetti. So let me go ahead and just draw that a little bit.
Growing up in New York and Georgia, Asian, like how was that for you and how does that affect your music?
Growing up Asian in New York, is like, especially when I was super young, I always felt very disconnected from everybody. And that's kind of how I felt like for a lot of my like life, where it was just like, I would move somewhere and it was just like, I don't really know these people, nor do I really want to fit in. I've tried to fit in multiple times with certain people, but it just felt like it wasn't right. It was very, very lonesome, but like, it was just kind of like my fault because I was kind of surrounding myself around things that I wanted to be. And at that time, you know, of course, I'm sure every person of color has felt that way, where you feel as if like, you don't want to be Asian.
Yeah.
You kind of put your roots away because you want to fit in with people. Only
internalized racism.
Yes, internalized racism, very much so. Until you grow and then realize like everything about my culture, like I love it. Like that's just something that I should have been like loving from the start. Growing up Asian was very lonely, but in a way, there were rewards to it, just because being lonely gave me an opportunity to draw, or go on the computer and just like look up like my interests, like what kind of movies I like, you know, or just like even how to make music. So through it being lonely, I would say like there were like rewards that kind of all built up to me being like, I love being Korean, you know. So it was lonely, but like I would say if there's anybody else out there that's like super lonely as well, and you feel as if like you're not very connected to your Asian roots, it's definitely good to like get into it and not be ashamed of it.
Yes.
I think we've all been there and we all regret it like later on.
You feel a little bit guilty of like all the times that you didn't really like being Asian. Yeah, definitely
very real.
To that. And I feel like especially being in like creative fields, because there's like not that many Asians, or at least growing up, there wasn't that many doing it.
Right.
So it was like extra lonely when you're like this creative person and you don't see like
Yeah.
a lot of people doing it.
Like, I mean, even now it kind of feels like it's finally all coming together. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like growing up, like if I wanted to see like an Asian film, it would be like a Jackie Chan film.
Right.
And like I love Jackie Chan, but I feel like a lot of like the absence of Asian creators back then kind of created this like stereotype, which I think now through film and music, we're like really showing that like none of that's real.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's, you know, it's pretty great what's happening now.
I'm curious like how your parents felt about you doing music, because for me, obviously, I have very strict Chinese parents, and you know, with art, they definitely didn't understand it at first. So, you know, how did they react to like music, and now how do they feel about it?
I never felt as if my parents were completely against it. Of course, my parents were always like, you gotta, you know, try to get better at school, try to get better at school. I think my mom always knew that I was just a creative kid. Mind you, I'm like the youngest kid in my family. So I think she just knew like, oh, he loves to draw, he loves to sing, but he's not that good at school. When I told my mom like, hey, I want to release music, like I want to make music, she was like, you should do that.
Shout out Mama Hojean.
Yeah, shout out Mama Hojean. When my family went to go eat K barbecue before I left to New York, this couple noticed me outside, and that was the first time my mom and like my entire family got to see that happen. And I think after that, it was just like, they were like, this is really working out for him, you know, like we should support him as much as we can. And no one's really been on my back about it for years. Okay,
final step. You can also draw one more thing in the empty space, maybe related to music, your song, your most recent song.
I could try drawing some stuff.
Okay.
It's so odd to feel as if like I'm being perceived. And while,
do not perceive me.
And while being perceived, I'm drawing myself. You know, I think this is really fun. I haven't really perceived myself in a very long time. So thank you for perceiving me.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what we do here.
I drew a swing set because my next EP is called Swing. A few of the songs from the EP already came out as singles, but it's gonna build into a whole project. And when it drops, there's gonna be a bunch of unreleased projects no one's ever heard before.
Okay.
So pretty excited.
Okay, cool. When you're writing a song, do you think about the whole picture, or do you like just write the song, start with the lyrics, or like an idea in your mind?
When I write music, I tend to think about the music video too. Like if I'm like 50% into a song, if I can't imagine like a music video, like a visual feeling the way I see movies, then I tend to be like, I don't want to release this. But if I'm like 50% into a song, like I close my eyes and just listen to it, and I'm like, whoa, this music video would be sick, you know, like it kind of reminds me of this movie, then I'm just like, I gotta keep working on it.
Okay,
you know?
Cool. Yeah, that's definitely like the film buff in you, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely is the film buff.
Yes. Our portraits are complete. This looks like a masterpiece, you know, feel free to sign it at the bottom.
Oh yeah, I'd love
to.
Do I show everyone?
Yes, you can show everyone.
It definitely looks kind of uncanny, but I think it does look like me.
I'm actually very impressed. I feel like I didn't give you that much.
Oh my goodness! Wait, that looks more like me!
No, I think yours is very realistic.
I look like somebody that hasn't slept in 40 years.
I mean, you have been on tour. I imagine there's been not that much sleep going on.
Well, just because I'm also on tour with my best friends, like I'm like sleeping like max like 4 hours a night, just because like we're just having so much fun doing this. You know?
Oh, that's so awesome.
But that is so great. You draw your curly hair really nicely.
I also have a gift for you.
No.
Yes. So, speaking of like sketchbook and journal,
no,
I'm giving you, this is like one of my journals as well.
This is actually my favorite color.
Really?
Purple, lilac, lavender kind of colors.
You know, I was choosing, I had a couple colors and I was choosing one. I was like, this feels like his vibes.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Thank you, because I love this color so much.
I'm glad. If any of the viewers want to check you out or your music, where can they find you?
Well, you could find me on Instagram, of course, at Hojean, along with Twitter at Hojean. You could find me on TikTok just as Hojean. A lot of my socials, I just like to talk about what's going on with me, like this tour and some upcoming music, and my EP is dropping pretty soon, so I'd love for you to follow and check it out. Unfortunately, I'd love to say come out on tour, but you know, a little bit of flex, but basically like 99% of the shows are sold out. So I'm on tour. Hopefully you guys can see the pictures and want to come to the next one.
Thank you. At the end of all of my videos, we do say like a greeting. Do you want to say it with me? We'll say, keep doodling, bye.
Keep doodling, bye.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, ready? Thanks for watching.
Keep doodling, bye.
You need to teach me how you...
how I tie it the way I do?
You have the bangs going in the front.
If you wanna ride it that way, go for it. Yeah, you kind of got it a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like you have it like farther back on your head.
Do I? Maybe.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah. I think yours looks. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great, fantastic.